Hello, everyone. It's nice to see you all. I also want to thank you all so much for the wonderful times that we've had in this session or in this series. I also want to recognize how it's officially coming to an end rather abruptly. I also am definitely feeling that it's rather abruptly. Um, I personally have been with the Japan Society for like what, 5 years now, and this is technically my last day, so this is a little, shocking for me as well. But I'm very grateful to the Japan Society. I'm very grateful to all of you. We've had some wonderful, wonderful sessions and wonderful times. As far as I'm concerned, although officially Japan Society hosting this series is ending tonight, I am more than happy to offer four more sessions. That is one for each of the summer months, May, June, July, August, right? Yeah. Um, I will say, since it's my news and I can share it, personally, one of the many, many reasons why this is ending is that I'm actually going to be relocating halfway through the year to Japan in September. So, unfortunately, I can't really offer anything from September on. But before that, I'm very happy to continue the series. And so, if you are interested, I am putting my personal email in the chat. Um, so if you are interested in continuing and having more sessions, please send me an email at this address and I will compile an email list and then we'll go from there. I've got some books already that if you're interested, we can look into. I'm really excited about it. But yeah, so we've talked a lot about that. Now, without further ado, we can jump into today's session. So let me share my screen. Okay, so for today, we read two of the works by the nun Abutsu-ni. These are Utatane, Fitful Slumbers, and Izayoi Nikki, Diary of the Waning Moon. The former written by, or translated by John Wallace, and the latter by Edwin Reischauer. So a bit about the nun Abutsu-ni. She was a 13th century noblewoman who then became a nun. There's a little bit of confusion as to when and how many times she became a nun. Um, we definitely know that she, at least temporarily, took up the tonsure when she was 17. We don't know if it was then reversed and then she did it again, but she definitely lived a lot of her life as a nun. She was the stepdaughter of Lord Taira no Norishige, and later in her life was very intimate with the poet Fujiwara no Tameiie, becoming his second and then primary wife. She met him, we believe, first because she was employed as a copyist of the Tale of Genji by one of his ladies. Um, and then her relationship with him grew to the extent that there actually was some rivalry within the family, and the family ended up like splitting into two branches, right? Abutsuni and her children by Tamie, and then the son of Tamie by his first wife, Tame Uji, over inheritance of certain poetic treasures that they had. And so Utatane, as a work, is much earlier in her life, before all of this happens, but then Izayoi Nikki is much later while all of this is happening. Um, a little bit about the translators, because I realized I haven't actually been talking about the translators for a while, so that's um, bad on me. I apologize. So we have two translators here. John Wallace, who is a professor of Japanese literature and East Asian traditions at UC Berkeley and specializes in Heian period women's diaries. He is the translator of the earlier work, Utatane. And then Edwin Reischauer, the famous Edwin Reischauer, is the translator of Izayoi Nikki. He was a US diplomat and professor of Japanese at Harvard University. He was born to American educational missionaries in Tokyo in the year 1910 and was the US ambassador to Japan under John F. Kennedy and was the founder of the Japan Institute at Harvard, which now is called the Reischauer Institute. So, yeah. A little bit about the works. Utatane was written in her youth, and it concerns her estrangement early on with a lover. It's not actually Tameye, this is a typo, but with an unnamed, unknown lover. She ends up taking the tantra temporarily, at least, and becoming a nun, later to be um, rescued isn't the right word, but taken up again by her stepfather to be brought back to his home province of Totomi. And there are lots of connections to earlier works. There are lots of poetic references. There's some recycled tropes. There are some tropes that show up frequently in works that we've read in here, such as the Gossamer Diary and Tawazugatari, and which is the Confessions of Lady Nijo, and all of these other wonderful texts that we've been reading. And then for the Izayoi Nikki, the Diary of the Waning Moon, it was written later on in life, after she became a nun, possibly for the second time. And it primarily concerns her travels to Kamakura to defend her claims to inheriting, her and her son's claims to inheriting the poetic treasures of Fujiwara no Tameiye, and is notable more for its style rather than its literary content. And that's pretty much all I have to say for my presentation. So I guess without further ado, I'd love to hear what you all thought.